All right, and we're back.
And I'm
Long,
the guest this time.
yeah, well, you could say that. Long time no see.
It's been a little while.
Yeah,
Good to be back, obviously. I wasn't
yeah.
avoiding you or anything.
Well, I wouldn't take it personally if you were,
Yeah.
but it was an exciting last week and also last night.
Mhm.
Parsippany Council meeting. You want to tell everybody what happened?
Yes, well, I'm sure everyone watching this is aware that your taxes just went up 8.5%. It was going to be 10%, and are now citing it only going up by 85% as much as something of a win, which is a bizarre stance to take. But yeah, I think we'll cover in depth what we saw at the meeting, the reasons behind it, and then what were their excuses for why they thought it was a good idea, and how were there people in attendance in support of it. Very weird scenario, but very weird situation. But
Yeah, and first, before we get into that, this is big picture. There was a recent study released by the Tax Foundation, and it released its 2026 State Tax Competitiveness Index. Now, I don't know if you cheated. Did you cheat?
and read this.
No. Well,
do my prep work.
do you know where
Yes.
New Jersey ranks?
50th.
Well, you didn't cheat. It's 49.
I thought it was.
Yeah,
Is
49th,
New York 50th?
and New York is
Okay,
50th.
that's why I was flipping.
Exactly.
when
Well,
I-
after Mamdani gets done with New York City, I think
It's a
what's
permanent
after 50?
It's a permanent 50.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
So in that case, we literally can't get worse. At least.
we we I guess you don't really
It'd
have
be very
much more
hard
to
to.
you have
Yeah,
much
yeah.
more to go. But here's our ranking, and I want to read these correctly. Corporate tax rate, we're 44th. Individual income taxes, 48th. Sales tax, 34th. Property taxes, 42nd. So now what makes New Jersey a little unique is that the majority of your tax bill is paid for by local property taxes. So whenever there's fluctuations in healthcare, in local budgets due to whatever the reason they need to raise, it impacts taxpayers the most, and it leaves us with the least amount of ability to really get any relief, which is why New Jersey's taxes, in particular, are pretty painful.
Yep.
So, I think big picture, what we're seeing in Parsippany as we come down to the local level, and we're not picking on Parsippany, we just
That's
happen
just
to
what
be
happened last night.
we
Yeah.
just happened to be at the council meeting last night. But you're seeing towns all over that ever since and I think one of the worst things that happened was during Phil Murphy's administration, they uh, re, they allowed municipalities and school boards to go beyond the 2% cap, which was probably one of the singular achievements of Governor Chris Christie's reign as governor. One of the best things that he did, because it really took a train that was moving at 100 miles per hour, got it back to 10 miles an hour, and then sure enough, after 8 years of Phil Murphy, we're now back to a 100-mile-per-hour train.
Pretty much it. And I also, I think it said we were 44th for property tax. I know there are states like Texas that I know have, and I can't remember where exactly we were in here, but have been cited as a state with very high property taxes. They could rank non-favorably in that kind of index, but at least there the housing is so cheap, where it's okay, the rate is high but the housing is cheap. We have a double whammy here where we have among the highest rates and then also some of the highest home prices.
Yeah.
So there are states that do have higher rates than ours, but the homes are cheaper to the point where it's not as as horrible as it is here.
Because their assessed value is a lot lower.
Correct.
And what New Jersey suffers from is we suffer from high home prices, which, as a homeowner,
I'm
we're
for
not
it. I'm for it at this exact moment.
for it.
Be
Yeah.
against it when I'm going to sell and buy.
And then we have an average tax bill in the state of $10,000. And the solutions that, some of the comments, I put up a post last night letting everybody know that the 8.25% increase passed. And the common questions we get are, what can we do about it? Right? Because we know what the problem is. And I tell people all the time that are running for office and they think that taxes are their issue to campaign on, that's what's going to win them the election. And it's not.
No.
Because if New Jersey voters made their decision on taxes alone, this would be the most Republican state
Correct.
in the whole country.
Yeah.
But it's not. So, what we have to do at the local level, number one, healthcare is absolutely driving a lot of these increases. And from what the state can do is the state has to look into pooling insurance premiums that can de-risk the pool, that can lower the premiums that are incurred. Number two, we have to look at more competition, inviting more people outside of our market to come in that can offer more affordable healthcare plans that are not going to be platinum, but will still give quality coverage, and will not have taxpayers just pay for these platinum plans. And I've read in some towns where they covered, the GLP was covered, and that was adding millions in some cases.
Although I will say, because I was actually going to bring up, the one part of healthcare that you can't campaign on is, well, we also need to reduce the obesity rate and the more, I guess, MAHA type stuff. With the GLPs, they are very expensive, obviously on a monthly basis. But if people do keep the weight off, do lose weight and keep it off, and obviously this assumes they go off the drug. I think a lot of people unfortunately do have to stay on it, but if they could get thin and then go off it, I think, over a lifetime, it could easily pay for itself. But it is still, a new science with that. We don't know what the long-term effects are, if people have to stay on for a lifetime or for decades. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, because the obesity aspect it's probably in the hundreds of billions of the national healthcare costs.
Yeah.
I could easily see that.
And before we go on talking about GLP, we have to thank our sponsor,
Yes.
Victory Pest Solutions. We're going to play a quick video for their business.
Hello, Victory Pest Solutions. How can I help you?
Hey guys, we may have a problem. Can you send someone?
Absolutely, Chef. We are on our way. Hello, Victory Pest Solutions.
Hi, Victory. We have an issue in a room. How soon can you get here?
We have someone nearby. We will be there shortly.
Hello, we need the warehouse inspected. Can someone take a look?
Not a problem. We will make it a priority.
Need a rapid response with skilled technicians? Protect your brand and reputation. Declare victory.
So yeah, thanks to Victory Pest Solutions based in Boonton. Thank you very much for sponsoring our show. Give them a call if you have any pest problems.
Tell them we sent you.
Yeah.
There's no benefit, but it looks good for us.
So was that your second council meeting last night?
Second, yeah.
Second.
First one, I may have gotten a little heated. Second one was I was on my best behaved self.
For now.
And,
We'll see how long that lasts.
We'll see how much I hike taxes next year.
But tell me what, what most people don't know is tell me if you think I'm wrong. Originally, the tax increase was proposed at 9.5%.
Oh yeah,
but
so
then,
I was rounding numbers on the intro a little bit, but so it's 9.5 and 8.25.
It's the same thing. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But then public came to the last meeting, a lot of pressure, and I think without that public pressure, the Democrats would have left it at 9.5, but they brought it down to 8.25. You ask me, I'll tell you they were probably just testing up front to see what they could get away with, but then found a way to lower it. But that is the importance of going to your local council meetings, which in this day and age, people don't know when they are, what's discussed there. And you can always go to your local town website and see where they're posted. But
well, I don't know if this is the reason they did it, but it obviously does look a lot better to go from 9.5 to 8.25 than any number, then go up to 8.25, just because of how you're anchoring your expectations. But yes, if they were able to find fat to cut, why not the first time? How much do they really look through it? And another thing too is we're in an era where there's seemingly we're in like this golden age of fraud, where a 20-year-old YouTuber can just walk down the street and find $100 million of fraud in certain states. I don't think we have that kind of problem here, but
don't be so sure.
But I would like to see that angle tested as well. Of, well, are there things we can just cut outright? From there?
Yeah, I mean, and that's when I served on the council for 4 years, it definitely opens your eyes to how money's spent. because when it comes to government spending your money, there's a cardinal
They're very
rule.
bad at it.
Not only are they very bad at it, but nobody spends your money as carefully as
Yeah,
you
it's,
spend your own.
There's a
And-
there's a very famous. I think it was Milton Friedman where Thomas Sowell pointed out. The most effective way to spend money is your own money on yourself. You earn the money. You know how to spend it the best. You want the most benefit. The least efficient way would be, me spending someone else's money on a gift for you, which it's like, well, I didn't work for the money. I don't care really that much how I spend it, and when I'm spending it on, well, I don't really. It's not like I'm going to benefit from the gift myself, so that's the worst way to spend money. And 100% of government spending is exactly that kind of spending.
Yeah, and I think that's where the public is so critical, because you have these local officials who just, they're presented numbers on a sheet, but more often than not, they're not going out and seeing, do we really need a new truck? Can the truck from 2024 do the job for 2026? Does anybody go and ride our transit system that's publicly funded and see how many people actually take our bus? No, they don't. And so you see empty buses that just drive aimlessly around town, but the public thinks that, they're serving a purpose, and it doesn't really it really doesn't.
Didn't you get attacked for not wanting like free bus rides to casinos or seniors or something like that?
Yeah, well, I got attacked for a lot of things.
Okay, but I just remember there's all these little. It's a tough position to be in because there's objectively so much stuff to cut, and yet every one thing individually you want to cut, there's a group of the vested interests.
And that's exactly and that's a really good point. There is always this organized constituency around any type of spending. So the best way to try and undo that spending is to build up enough people who actually see value in having it removed, or trying to figure out how do we spend it better. And one of the things I proposed was, with the Parsippany transit system, monetize the buses, advertise with them, that could bring in money, and that could absolutely defray a lot of what we spend. But that's, smaller picture.
So you want to talk about the meeting in particular, some of the speakers, some of the...
What did you think of what people said?
Well, I thought it was great people were there. It's just in a city of 50,000, we had, 50 people maybe showed up, tops, and I think maybe a half dozen spoke. So it is, I had that thought. I'm like, if I'm someone running for office and I want to do something nefarious or unpopular, 1 in 1,000 people is really all I have to really worry about to come chew me out or something. I had that thought of it should have been, at least 10 times as many people, I'd hope. But, anyone watching, obviously.
Look, back to my original point. Council meetings, most are not live stream. So, it's harder for working families who get home at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. They got their kids there. They can't just leave their kids behind. You and I have very good wives who, give us that privilege. Yeah. So if you're watching, right, and happy Mother's Day, right, to all the mothers out there. And you should absolutely spend as much money possible as you can get away with on your mother.
Give them a gift card to Victory Pest Solutions.
Yeah.
That's my solution.
But when it comes to what you were just saying, the council meetings are crucial. I mean, there were times when I was elected that many, periods where there was more people on the dais than in the council chambers. So I think, remember when we had Fred Snowflack and Bill Westhoven, and they said that back in their day, these are reporters for the Insider, NJ, and Daily Record. Every town had its own newspaper, and the town, the average person was far more informed because they were being fed content at their doorstep about what's happening at town hall, and people knew. Now, with so many of those newspapers having been eliminated, and you see more of these digital websites that market themselves as covering local politics, their reporters are not even based in Parsippany. They're based on sometimes not even New Jersey. I'm not going to mention any names, but that's a real issue for why, back to your point, how is it that, you're having a historic tax increase, but only 50 people are showing?
I thought
but that's where the new medium is social media. And that is the main way where, us on the right need to get in control of, especially when Democrats are shoving down these punishing tax hikes down your throats.
Yeah. There was a few speakers that were in favor of the tax, and one of them, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want it to seem like I'm attacking anyone. It's not my goal, but one of them was talking about how hard it was being on a fixed income and not making that much money, and then was in favor of the tax. And a lot of it just seemed it was partisan for the sake of being partisan. It was, I support the Democrats. They're the anti-Trump people. I don't like Trump. Therefore, whatever they do, I'll support. And I don't know. It's just listen.
Like the
if
people,
it was all Republicans and they were proposing an 8% tax, I'd be like, all right, I'm voting you all out.
And I've been in that position where I
Yeah.
voted against my own colleagues, and that's the importance of being consistent on an issue, is that even when it's your own party doing something that you disagree with, having that intestinal fortitude to make that decision. But with the Democrats in power, they campaigned on affordability.
That was the
And then
ironic
it
part.
always
yeah.
it
and
makes
lowering
me
costs, yeah.
it makes me laugh when they say that they're the party of affordability, but then the first thing that they do when they win is institute a historic tax hike to pay for new spending. And you had mentioned some of the jobs. I looked at it. There was over $1 million of new positions that they've created.
What's the total size of the budget? Because I had read the
It's over
handout.
100
it was about 100,
101
correct.
million.
Okay, so it's 1% on the budget right there is just new spending.
And that doesn't even get to all of the vehicles. That doesn't get to how do we look at our municipal footprint all throughout town and seeing how do we monetize it, where can we consolidate and save money, sell off vacant land, because in many towns the largest owner of land is actually the municipality.
Yes,
And land should go to its most valued use, because in a time where we're trying to figure out how do we literally just keep people in town, and that to me is more, and remember, I don't know if when I went up and spoke, we need to have just an all-out war on the rising costs of everything.
Well, there's been this huge debate over data centers, and I'm sort of, I feel like I'm on the periphery of it. Like I'm not.
Why is that?
Well, I'm not like I just feel like I'm not that knowledgeable on tech issues. So like I don't really have a BS meter and knowing if what I'm reading is right or not. And I've seen the biggest argument against them is it does seem to screw with the local water supply. It's not something you'd want to be living next to, which I definitely see that argument. But right now in Loudoun County, they've been embracing the data center boom, and half of all their tax base is now from data centers. So I don't know if we can accommodate it here. Is there a way to do that?
Right.
But it's in the
if half
most.
of my tax bill I'd be sending to Courtney, we're drinking out of bottled water, babe. If half our tax bill's going to be paid. But
I mean, like,
no,
is there a way to do it in a way where it's not invasive? It's close to the middle of nowhere within Parsippany. You could do that kind of.
While
idea.
I was on the council, we didn't have any data centers, at least to my knowledge, approach us about coming to Parsippany. It's definitely something I would have looked into, but that's where your planning board becomes crucial, because it's during that phase of development where if you're trying to bring a new rateable to town and you don't want there to be those third-party effects on the neighbors around the development, the noise, the water.
And then also there's a lot of concern too that it can raise electricity prices. And I've seen arguments in both directions. I mean, I think if it is the case that it's raising electricity prices, you'd have to tax them in a special way to counteract it. But I don't know, I think it's something we should at least have a discussion over. I will say it probably isn't going to be an unpopular idea that would get struck down, but I think any option should be at least looked at.
Well, I'll give you an example of one thing I did when I first got elected. We had banned cannabis at the time, which I thought was crazy considering the fact that other towns all around Parsippany had cannabis, retail cannabis, that was safe, that was in secure places, away from schools, and they were getting the 2% sales tax to the municipality, along with all of the licensing fees. So at first I made the argument to modify our cannabis ban, and then it took me actually through 3 years. Everybody else eventually got on board, and that should generate for Parsippany upwards of $4 to $5 million a year. Which
5% of the budget is
if,
you.
if you're thinking about tax points,
Yeah.
right? That 700. Well, now it's $1 million. Back in my day, it was 750,000. Is a tax point. So that could offset another large increase. So those are the forward-looking solutions that newer leaders need to start thinking about. And there's a lot we can do at the local level. When you're looking at corporate tax rates, individual income taxes, sales taxes, you have to divide that. That's got to be handled by Trenton. But as my good friend Senator Joe Panaccio says, every time they meet in Trenton, nothing good happens. So I highly doubt.
Yeah, I mean, at least Trump removed the cap on the salt taxes.
He did.
Right off. I mean, obviously he put it in effect in the first place, but well, glad to see that gone as well. I do wish I could write off my HOA fees. That's gonna be the next thing we fight for.
Well, aren't you on the HOA board?
Yeah. You think I should use my?
I think that should
become
be
a tyrant. And
that should be your
myself.
springboard for fame.
Yeah, that'll be the one popular HOA.
Now, we also want to thank our sponsor,
Yes.
Victory Pest Solutions. Do we want to play the video?
I think that's a yes.
Hello, Victory Pest Solutions. How can I help you?
Hey, guys, we may have a problem. Can you send someone?
Absolutely, Chef. We are on our way. Hello, Victory Pest Solutions.
Hi, Victory. We have an issue in a room. How soon can you get here?
We have someone nearby. We will be there shortly.
Hello, we need the warehouse inspected. Can someone take a look?
Not a problem. We will make it a priority.
Need a rapid response with skilled technicians? Protect your brand and reputation. Declare victory.
So we have some comments.
Yep.
What do you hear?
Well, our first comment is you once again saying we'd like to thank Victory Pest Solutions, which I feel like should also be read.
Yep.
Christine Thomas asks, /comments, didn't Mikey say no tax hikes? New Jersey is one, I think she needs to say behind New York, as one of the highest tax states. I pay close to 10 grand in taxes a year on my property. I don't know if I heard that specifically from her. I mean, we're talking, just to clarify, we do mean Parsippany specifically, but I don't know what you meant.
Well, when Mikey Sherrill campaigned for governor, one of the things that she hit Jack Ciattarelli on was him saying that he might consider a rise in the income taxes.
Or was it the sales tax?
It was the sales.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it was the sales tax. Because he said everything's on the table, and then they refashioned that clip. Did Mikey Sherrill, did she campaign on not raising taxes? I don't know if she ever made that specific commitment. I will say that her first budget did not have a tax increase, which we spoke about.
I saw it too. We talked about this at her State of the State. She did say she was willing that anyone who had any ideas to find any fat in the budget, she would meet.
Well,
with.
she could just call us.
I would love to.
Could,
yeah, it would be great.
We could cut the budget in half.
Maybe we'll get 1% through. But,
yeah.
No, I think that is maybe something you and I should pursue. Is just put together a list of our own ideas and see if our one Democrat contact can push that through.
I think we would need our lifetimes to do that.
Nah.
What else do we have?
We have Eric Paley says in all caps, yeah, agreed.
Yep. Yeah, yep. Back to you, Eric.
Arlene Hoops Amaducci. I definitely pronounced that right. I didn't even pronounce the word pronounce right. Ours are 13,000. By the time they're done, it'll be 14,000. I agree.
I'm with you.
Yep. I'm not quite there yet, but it's getting there. But then Mike Smith says the same people who screamed about the 2.75% increase are in favor of this increase. And the thing that came up too at the meeting that stood out was a woman. I think she spoke twice. She had a very good point. She says, we're doing an 8% now. Well, what about next year?
Yeah, what's the future plan?
Like, is it going to be? And then the council president, Judy Hernandez, said, "I'm asking you to have faith," which
I can tell you, there's a lot of.
It's the last thing I want to get from a politician.
Have faith in God, not in politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a pilot asking you to pray. You're like, something bad is going to happen very shortly.
Yeah, that is not reassuring.
Yeah.
I don't think that argument's been made, to be clear, from this budget, that there is a 4-year trajectory, because it is extremely hard to plan out where the future will be, because we have certain taxes that are highly dependent on the economy. For instance, our hotel tax, which is 5%. So you can forecast out where you'd like to be. And if you
COVID
think,
happens,
right, you have COVID and it kills the hotel industry and you're not getting $5 million. That was one thing that was really controversial with former mayor, the Democrat Soriano. He got hit with that hard in COVID.
There was a woman who went up and spoke. I think she was formerly a city councilor. I don't know if you worked with her, but she had cited as one of the, she was defending the tax hike, and she had cited as one of the reasons, I think her word was like a decline in federal reimbursements or something. Is there any truth to that? Was this town getting federal money that went down?
The last time we received ARPA money, American Rescue money, that faded out a year or two after COVID. Most municipalities were cut off.
Gotcha.
I mean, the excuses that they made, tariffs, there was only a $16,000 impact.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just excuse driven, and they're always going to look.
I mean, I could see, listen, hey, if you got to pay for gas for a municipal fleet, that's a total legit excuse for the next couple of months probably. But in a $100 million budget, is that going to be a double-digit move? Or probably not. So I understand no one really wants to take office and then immediately hike taxes almost 10%, but I don't really see this happening if it was the old crew in charge. So
well, we'll see where it goes from here. I think it was definitely, the good thing is that there were a lot of people there who are starting to wake up and are going to be paying attention. And this is where it's on you. It's your responsibility as a taxpayer to hold these people accountable for the decisions that they make, which involve your money. So, on that note,
Victory Pest Solutions.
Yeah, we want to thank our sponsor again, Victory Pest Solutions in Boonton. And we will be back next Wednesday. And thanks for joining us tonight.
There's a very big guest coming soon, too.
Yes.
Our most famous ever, probably.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yes. Don't want to overpromise.
All right. Thanks and good night.